So I got a bit ahead of myself, and I realized I have a lot more to say about this potential change to the hunger system. If you missed it, here's the first video on this subject. In this video, I'll be talking about some of the nuances of this system, as well as some reasons why the system could use such an update. Let's jump right in. Part 1. The What Ifs. Section A. I don't like this. So let's say you somehow made it this far, but you're not a fan of this system. You don't want to go out of your way to get specific foods. That's okay. For you, the game shouldn't change much. As long as you have your dinosaur eating its primary diet, which will likely be what you're used to, not a whole lot will change. Your hunger meter will have a new look with some more colors, but you won't be punished for ignoring them. But if you are a fan of unusual diets, stick around, because in part 3 I'll be going into some variations of this system that might be more your style. Section B. Keeping a balanced diet. Hold on, let's say I have a balanced diet. When my dino gets hungry again, it's going to eat something, and won't that upset the balance? And you're valid for thinking this. But no. You see, when you've achieved a perfect diet, that amount of food stays locked in. Food is digested through the bottom of the stomach, so the balanced diet will be digested first. Any food added to this will simply sit on top, which can then also be balanced if the player wants. In this way, the player can have a balanced diet all the time if they put in the effort. Section C. Salt. What about salt, though? How does that factor into the system? Well, when the player eats salt, regardless of whether their dinosaur has a balanced diet, the salt sits at the bottom of the stomach meter. Their perfect diet will be paused for the duration that the salt is in their stomach. The 2-minute thirst debuff would remain unchanged. Once the salt is digested, the food sitting on top of it will follow suit. If they had a balanced diet already, it will be reinstated. Section C. So I can eat whatever? So if I have access to every available food to my dinosaur, what's stopping me from eating exclusively secondary and tertiary diet all the time? Sure, it's telling me to eat mostly fish, but what if I try eating just bones? The way I see it, there's 2 ways the developers can deal with this, and they could exist at the same time. Number 1, dinos will refuse to eat more than is healthy. Say we have a dino with 2 diets, 95% fresh meat and 5% carrion. If the player attempts to fill up on carrion alone, after the stomach hits a threshold, say 15%, the dinosaur will refuse to eat any more of that kind of food. And number 2, non-primary diet drains extremely fast. Using the same 2-dieted dino example, let's say it eats bones, and it eats a lot of them. If it has absolutely no primary diet in its system, these bones will be digested rapidly. I'm talking anywhere from twice as fast to 10 times as fast. It cannot subsist on bones alone for an extended length of time. Both of these limiting factors will encourage the player to follow their primary diet, while still allowing more wiggle room than the current system allows. Part 2. Why change anything? Well, for one, it's engaging. As of right now, finding food in Path of Titans is almost an afterthought. Sure, you need to be well fed to heal, but it's a very simple system in its current form. I've found this to be especially true for herbivores. Seeking out bushes and only bushes is tedious and repetitive. Also, it's realistic. Path of Titans has been known to sacrifice some realism elements for the sake of their PvP MMO, but I believe this will be an addition that people will enjoy from a realism standpoint. Animals in the wild are opportunistic and aren't going to go, "Oh, I chose to be a scavenger. I guess this rat that was trying to steal my eggs is just gonna rot here." It could encourage players to seek out new areas. It's entirely possible that the zone you're currently in does not have every type of food your dinosaur requires. This would prevent stagnation in one zone, encouraging people to seek out the missing parts of their diet. It may even encourage people to abandon hotspots. Finally, and this one might be a bit divisive, it makes varied diet dinosaurs easier to keep fed as compared to the fresh meat eaters. The bigger you are and the more limited your diet is, the harder it should be to survive. This system will not affect single diet dinosaurs, and this means that playing as Tyrannotitan, Tyrannosaurus rex, or other similar dinosaurs will remain a challenge. This may encourage players to pick dinosaurs based on diet, which would be an interesting change. Part 3. The Possibilities. Disclaimer, I don't know how coding works. I understand some of this may be impossible to implement, but since I don't know what the limitations are, I'm just going to include every implementation I think is viable gameplay-wise. So this system could be implemented in a few different ways. We could have it so that if you hatch as a dino, you automatically start out with the ability to eat everything you're ever going to eat. Simple, might be confusing to new players. Dino Kairos, at the tender age of 0 years old, already backhanding stingrays and kelp sharks for sustenance. Or we could have it so that as your dinosaur grows, you automatically unlock new subdiets. Dino Kairos reaching adolescence, and now its stomach is developed enough that it can digest fish. This would be more beginner-friendly, as there's already a lot going on during the first 20 or so minutes of gameplay. Although, if we still want uncommon diets, such as Scavenger Pachy or Insectivore Deinonychus, to be a potential, we could bring back the metabolism slot. Instead of picking one diet, you're instead picking your primary diet, and the unchosen diet will be allotted to secondary. Okay, and just to get crazy with it, what if we split each diet even further? Split fruits from berries, split up nuts, flowers, and roots, split up bones, noxious meat, and carrion. And let's add fish and clams, and maybe fresh meat just to put it in there. Now we could give Metri the ability to eat noxious meat or amanita in addition to fresh meat, which would explain their toxic skin. We could give Rex the ability to eat bones, but just a little, like 5 to 10%, to separate it from Tyrannotitan and Daspletosaurus. We could limit Camptosaurus to be specifically a forager, having to balance flowers and fruit only. We can do this because there's no punishment if the player refuses to do it. The variety among dinosaur diets, even among dinosaurs of similar builds, could really help each one feel different from each other. Alright, that's about everything. If you want to expand on my idea, feel free to comment. In the description I have a link to the Path of Titan suggestion board, and I would love an upvote from you. Or if you're confused, you can check out the Google Doc that's also linked there. Other than that, I thank you for watching my video, and have yourself a good day. Bye-bye!